Okay, so we're revisiting the animation blueprint system, and this time with the effort of making it more um, random. Okay, so our idle is pretty great looking. It's pretty, random seeming. And then of course when we turn up the speed or whatever, we can let's go to 200. We have this outstretched a zombie, right? But they're all doing it at the same exact time, and we really want to randomize this kind of thing. Also, we have a bunch more zombie walking animations than just that. Like if I go and I type in, let's type in zombie walk. Okay, we have walk, and we all want the ones that are in place, by the way. Almost always in Unreal, you just want the in-place animations. So every animation should be like you're on a treadmill. Like, they're not actually moving forward in space. There's another zombie animation. Okay. Here's another one. There's another one. That's a good one. I like that one. Right? So we want them to kind of like randomly cycle between these things, correct? So how do we do that? We can do that in kind of a variety of ways. We could make several of these blend spaces and have, 3 or 4 or 5 of them on this graph, and which one gets put in the output pose could be based on like a random number. It's not a bad way of doing it. Also, another way we could do it is, remember with this blend space, see how it says none here, right? We made a parameter for speed, but because it's the horizontal parameter when we open up this blend space. If you look over here, if I hold shift and move my mouse horizontally, it's going from this idle to this walking to this running, right? And that's it. But we also have a vertical space. So we could put different animations vertically there and rename that parameter for the vertical axis. Instead of it saying none, call it like style, right? Because it's just blending between different types of walking and running. And based on that, see, that's a style. That number that comes in, he'll either have his arm outstretched, he won't have his arm, he'll be leaning forward, maybe kind of leaning forward, half has his arm outstretched because you're blending some way halfway in between them. So we can do that way too. I think I'm going to go that way because it involves less assets. I'm dealing with less multiples of blend spaces that all might need to be edited one by one at some point. And then it'd be really easy just to randomize this number and get a little variety there. I'm thinking that would be the way we do it. So let's do it. Again, I try to avoid animation blueprints as much as possible, which is why if you end up making a specialty out of animation blueprints, you can be very valuable to a team. Because you've got a lot of people out there who are animators, but you don't have the people who actually integrate the animation into the game. And these systems can be very complex, state machines and all that kind of stuff. All right, I need coffee for this. Let's begin. All right, so we've got a couple different walks here. So knowing that our walk kind of area is over here. Oh, we could maybe if there's different idles, we could do that too. But let's put some different animations in the vertical part of our blend space. So let's just type in walk. We'll find all the different ones. So we got walk in place 1. So that's what we currently have, this thriller thing. So let's add walk in place 2 over here. Okay, and actually I'm going to pause this so it's just not taking frames, but I can still preview it. So you can see this walk is more like where his arms are down, he's doing that. Great. Let's do walk in place 3. Bring that up there. So see, you blend between that. And then, oh, okay, there's only 3, I think. No, what is this? Is this one different? Because we have another walk in place. No, that's from the original. That's a different. So walk in place 3. Okay, perfect. So we only have 3, which is plenty enough. So in that case, I'm going to put this kind of down here. So it's kind of even. So we got this, we get this, we get this. All right. Now, the number of that scale right now is a number between 0 and 100. Okay, we can change that maximum axis value, this vertical style thing. Also, you notice how like my animations are snapping to these light gray lines? Those are the grid divisions. So I can if I have like, if I have 8 animations in here, I'm like, well, I can't just increase the grid divisions. Now you can snap a lot more, but I don't need that many. In fact, I only need 3 grid divisions, right? No, 4. Maybe 4. We were at 4 before. 4 looked better. We'll do 4. All right, so yeah, that's more even. Okay, so now we can decide, okay, what is the number between whatever? Since it's random, since it's not like a number, like horizontally, we set the maximum access value to 500, between 0 and 500, because 500 is kind of the speed that the guy would be at as if he was running. So we literally just plug his speed in this horizontal access value thing. So, okay, what do we do for the vertical axis? Since the vertical axis is more like a style thing, I'd be okay with just saying it's a number between. Could we even treat it like an integer, like between 1 and 3 or something? No, but you know what? I don't want to treat it like an integer because I want the opportunity for some zombies to really be blended between 2 animation states. Half thriller, but half also Walking Dead slumped over. So we're going to say between 0 and 10. Okay? 0 and 10. That's how much, that's the maximum and minimum numbers that we plugged in for the vertical part of our blend space. Okay. So, great, now we can blend those. Let's also blend our running animations. We have different types of running in place. So let's type in run. Currently we're using run 1 in place. Let's do run 2 in place. Let's put that up here at the top. You see that is it's a full arm run. That's a scary one. And it doesn't look like we have a run 3, but because there might be, well, let's just see if we have anything that's similar to that, like maybe a skip or something. Attack, cast, things like this. We'll just do run 2 in place again over here. That's fine. Okay, sounds good to me. Now, we also want to see if we have extra idles. We don't. We have an idle break, which is, I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to have to drag that out here and play it to see what it actually looks like. What is idle break? Oh, that means the guy is like, yeah, looking around, kind of. It doesn't loop very well. Or does it? I'm going to leave it in, and if we end up getting a weird result, then we'll change it. Okay, so we've modified the blend space. Now all I got to do is plug in like a random number here. So into style. And the random number between what? Somebody tell me? 1 in 1,000? 1 in 100? 1 in a billion? What was the range that we chose vertically? It's a pop quiz. Nice one, Jacob. 1 in 10. Exactly. All right. So I might be wrong on this. So we'll try to do it this way. Random float in range. That's the correct node, but whether we put it on the animation graph or not is something I forget. I forget whether to put it on the blueprint, but we'll see. So between 1 and 10. Supposedly, you should have a little bit more different variety. Ha! Okay, don't do that. Look at this guy. See what's happening here? And he's even giving me a warning. Because this is ticked, you see how it's constantly coming through here? It's just spitting out a random number constantly, updating the style. You can't have that. You can't have that. Not going to happen. All right. So that was the wrong place to put it. Instead, we'll make it a variable. And the variable called style, all right, now when I compile, it's going to relax. Okay. What we're going to do is back on our event graph of our animation blueprint. You see our event graph of our animation blueprint, it tries to get the pawn owner, and it gets its speed, and bloopity blue, right, all this stuff. And this is also ticked, so we can't do it here. But what we could do is go back to our enemy over here. we could give him like a way of walking at the beginning of the game on begin play. So look at this, begin play, blah, 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 all this stuff. And what if we make a variable on our zombie character himself, his blueprint, not animation blueprint, actual blueprint, called animation movement style. I just like to be really specific with the variables. Make it a float, variable type. Now, set that to a random float in range, the range between 0 and 10. And now that only is set one time, right? Beginning of the game, or whenever this thing is spawned. It's begin play. So now, going back here to the event graph of our animation blueprint, after all this code, what we could do is, continuing off of this get pawn owner, and actually, no, there's a more performant way to do this, and I'm going to do the more performant way since you guys are the advanced class, and you shouldn't do this way. What I was going to do is I was going to do this. I'm going to do something very close to it. Cast to BP enemy. Because now I can ask it for its style animation variable, right? That's what we're basically going to do. But the reason I'm not going to plug a cast node after this is it's going to be casting on tick. And casting on tick is an expensive function. What we better do is, can we do a begin play? Yeah. And what we'll do there is we'll ask for the pawn owner. So this is how I would do it in my own development, this extra step, but it's important for performance, especially if you have many actors in here, which you will with many zombies. Begin play, promote this to a variable, and name it owning zombie, because he's the one who owns this animation blueprint. Now on tick, I have no problem going over here and asking owning zombie for its animation movement style. See, we've done the same thing. We've already casted to it. We already did a cast node. We just did it once on tick, or sorry, once on begin play instead of every single tick. And that's really important for performance. So what we'll do is now we have access to this. In fact, what I was going to do is promote this as a variable, but we don't really need to do that, I don't think. We could probably, let's see, can we access that from here? Paste. Maybe we could do it like that. Normally you promote it to a variable, so you kind of have these like internal use variables. All right. So we have that. Let's hit play and let's see if the guys are all kind of moving sort of different. They will be moving in the same pace. We haven't adjusted the where they are in the animation, but they all should have different. One should have its arm raised, that kind of one should not. Okay, that one has its arm raised. That one does not. All right, they're still doing that annoying. They're like, all leaning at the same time. We're gonna fix that one next. Okay, so I think that worked pretty well. Oh, I got a bunch of errors there. Let's check out what those errors are. Hit escape. Try to read none. Okay, so I know what's happening. So it got, yeah, so we do need to actually promote it to its own variable. And we're going to promote it. We're just going to set the style variable that we created a minute ago. So set style to this. There'll be no more error after this part with that. Okay. All right. Man, animation blueprints. Jeez. Ugh. There's not enough caffeine in the world to deal with animation blueprints. All right. Anybody dealt with animation blueprints yet? Jacob, Ian, anyone in class, at school? No? There's like the one system in Unreal that is harder than you would expect. It's more involved. It's one of those ones that I'm embarrassed to kind of teach sometimes because I'm always like, yeah, no, Unreal's really user friendly. Like, you can get into it. Come on, guys, everybody, get in the pool. The water's fine. You don't realize the water is not fine. Not when it comes to animation blueprints. Ivan, you've dealt with it a bit. Ivan, did you pick it up pretty easily, or did you have some? Was it unintuitive for you? It could be different for different people. All right, so okay, we did that. Should fix the error, but he's still playing stuff at different rates and stuff. So now this part, I have to do the very professional thing of Googling the answer because I haven't randomized. All right, how to randomize. I haven't done this in a while. Randomize animations UE4 AnimBP play times, maybe. Let's see what comes up. Start animation in random time. Yeah, that's basically what we want. Ian's comment might be the best comment all day. All right. Ian says, getting into animation blueprints is like getting in the water, but you got a paper cut and there are like 50 piranhas and they haven't eaten in like a day. That's right. That's right. All right, so give your AnimBP a variable called random animation offset of float type, randomizes a vote on initialized animation. If your animation is in a state machine, you can expose the pin start position and use random offset to drive that. I believe it should work. The random pause at start route can be more because if you have. All right, we're gonna do this. Give it a variable called random animation offset. Randomizes flow on event initialize animation. Okay. So we have. That's right. Initialize animation. Is that a different event? Initialize animation is like a different event than begin play for that animation. That's interesting. Okay. Well, this is still fine for this because. Yeah, that's fine. But let's do that. Let's make a new variable, float style variable, duplicate. We're going to name it random animation offset. Cool. We're going to set it to, of course, a random number. Random number in range, and let's come back to that because I don't know what our range really should be. If we click on this, we can expose the start position as a pin on our node here. So you do that by going to the details panel. So you got different. You can also do things like play rate. Like if your animation is too darn fast, too darn slow. Okay, play rate is like a multiplier. Right now, default it's at 1.0, so it's going the speed it's supposed to. But you can change that. Start position. Let's see. How do I expose pins again? Expose. Right click. Says we can bind it. Exposes pin. Perfect. Okay, now we have a pin for the start position. And we're going to take random animation offset get and plug that in. The only question is, what's our range? I guess we would want to look at this and be like, well, how long is the total animation? Okay, we can see probably, where are we going to find that? You see it's taking a few seconds to get across. It is technically 500 is our horizontal variable, but that is not the length of the animation in seconds. So duration, length. Let's see. What is the duration here? I mean, if I plug in a number that's random that's higher than the duration of this, it's probably just gonna treat it as like 0. So let's do. Okay, we'll do. And the question is the duration in frames or seconds? I can't remember off the top of my head, but we'll do this random float in range. Let's say between 0 and 10. And let's see if this is good. Oh, we're getting an error. Can't parse default value 000 for random item offset property. Why? Refresh. Compile. Can't parse. Property random animation offset. Can't parse default value. Okay, then we'll do you on begin play then. And then you will stop complaining. Maybe. Bring that in here. I don't want initialize animation. No. Okay, so it's something about 000. What if I change it to 0.01? Do you be okay with that, Unreal? No, of course you wouldn't. Can't parse default value. Blippity blue. I changed the default of the variable to 0.01 over there. Okay, I guess that worked. I guess I could probably put this back here and not have this happen on begin play, but on initialize animation. All right, now let's see if they're not so in sync. No, they're totally in sync. Oh, are they? No, they're not in sync. But that hand is annoying, and they're also moving too fast for the animation, so it looks weird. So we're going to set their default value. They simply move too fast, which tells me that our walking position is moving too fast. The number that's coming in is too fast. And on the blend space, they're too close. They should be more to 0, more close to 0. So we can change the maximum axis value from 500 to 600, since that truly is their max speed and their character movement component, I believe. Let's also just go and modify their max walk speed. Right now, really? 150? They seem a lot faster than that. 125. Or 1. Either they're walking too fast, or you can make the model face backwards for a Michael Jackson moonwalking zombie. Yeah, Ian, I think that's just going to be what we have to do. You guys don't mind, right? It's just be the Michael Jackson game. I just think that's the simplest solution at this rate. So, also, something should be said about the fact that they're blending between, like, they're idle whether their hand is up or not. First off, I just want to get rid of that hand being up. It's just kind of annoying to me, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I feel like they're not totally blending all the time the way they should, so let's increase the range on how random that is. So instead of between 0 and 10, let's make it between 0 and 100. So there's a better chance that you get a more variety to them really blending. So we'll do that by going up back to BP enemy. That's right, we did it on the blueprint, right? 0 to 100. Okay, that's good. See how this looks. Oh gosh, now they're just sliding towards me. And these guys are in sync. Interesting. Okay. Animation blueprints, folks. Am I right? I'll take a look, see if I could fix whatever we did that didn't work out with the randomizing. Man, animations, man. They could be very frustrating. That's what I'm saying. I think we have to amend what Ian said and say it's not just with 50 piranhas, but 50 piranhas with laser beams on their head. It's pretty much what it's like dealing with animation blueprints. But you got to deal with it because nobody else seems to. It's a one of those lost, hidden skills in Unreal, and it can take a while. It can take a few days just to kind of grasp how they work, and then quite a lot longer to understand all of the different ways that you can use the tool to create seamless transitions between multiple animation assets, blend spaces, etc., etc. All right. Any questions on the content of class today?